basically the rule's simple, but it dramatically changes strategy. Once a champion is picked in a series, that champion cannot be picked again by either team for the remainder of the series. So if we see something like Aphelios, Hecarim, or Control Mage picked in game 1, those champions are completely off the table in games 2 and 3. What this does is reward champion depth, flexibility, adaptation. Teams can't simply rely on comfort picks every single game. They need layered strategies, and it also means drafts tend to become more chaotic the longer the series goes.
Yeah, and on a personal note, I love the sort of chaos that it invokes in a series, even a short series, even a best of 3, which traditionally under the old format wouldn't be super exciting. I mean, yeah, it's always great to see that series play, but it would become predictable because the same champions would sort of come out over and over again, and you'd kind of get an idea of where that in-series meta would go. But with Fearless, there's a huge onus on not only having a large champion pool, but being able to be flexible in that draft, especially considering that because as more champions get taken off the board, you can continue to keep consistent bans and force the other team to play stuff that maybe they otherwise wouldn't consider or aren't as comfortable on.
That's right. And we can see right away that we've got certain bans coming out, such as Bard, Aurelian Soul. I know that those are essentially limiting the movement options that Team Q will have going into the mid game. You kind of want to take Bard off the board as soon as possible. A lot of teams in this league love playing Bard, love its roaming playstyle, and it's interesting to see that if we'll even see it in this series, if at all.
Yeah, the limiting the mobility, I think, is one of the things that even in professional play, you've seen teams try to take an onus on. Bard is one of those champions that across all the major regions has become super popular because of the options that it gives you. And I think seeing that here, the recognition of how important it is to limit that, these teams are recognizing that the play options it gives you alone is worth it. It's kind of like that tooltip you see all the time in League of Legends. Sometimes it's not using the ability that's as threatening, but just the threat that you'll use it. And mobility, especially with ASOL, that continual scaling, you definitely, if you're looking to play for the early mid game, you want to see that taken off the board.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And we can also see here that Team Q is paying a lot of respect towards Please Investigate. They've already taken off 3 of his signature control mages, and I'm really worried if we're going to see him limited in his champ pool as early as game 2. But that being said, I'm sure that his champ pool is a little bit deeper than that. But it is interesting to see their priority based on that so early in this draft phase.
Yeah, and in response to that, I love seeing Team Q take another one of those control mages, Victor, not only to play that in the middle, but also to deny that later on in the draft. It's another mage you don't have to worry about. You can open up some of those other possibilities, maybe force it towards an AD style matchup, which is definitely where Please Investigate would definitely, I think, not like to go given his champion pool. But interested to see how that draft developed. The other thing I like, and as an additional pickup, is the Smolder's going to come through. Think of what we expected at some point to come in this draft. So interesting to see it coming out in game 1. But one of the combos that I do like that Please Investigate was able to get is obviously this Orianna with the Zen Zhao. Being able to have that ball delivery system, that super easy engage onto a team, I think is going to help set them up definitely much better in the later game.
Definitely, yeah. It's one of the easiest ball delivery systems in the game. It's almost virtually point and click, and as, of course, we see the Braum coming out, which is a nice level of disengage in the back, but also can be a combo to the ball combo as well, with Braum's ult going over the top. One thing I did want to say about the Orianna Victor matchup: Victor does have a slight lead in this lane. He's able to pester out Orianna a little bit harder than most champions because of his laser range. Orianna might have a hard time surviving to the mid game, and it's going to really depend on how she itemizes, and I'm curious to see if she even goes to some of those green runes as a secondary.
Sure. These other bans starting to come out pretty hot and fast. Thresh and Urgot going to hit the ban list. Something else you brought up, I think, is very interesting too. When you're talking about that poke capability is not only with Victor but Smolder as well. And as he gets in that later game, still having that stacking element for that late game, with an addition of the Wukong, which helps set that up, buys you a little bit of space for Smolder to work with, and deny some of that backline access, I think is going to be important. It'll be really interesting to see how they navigate how aggressively the BP roster, how their champions can play in these extended team fights, because it's kind of that all-in factor. Like, you can get on top of the damage carriers in Victor and Smolder, you really don't have a lot to work with once they're down.
Yeah, definitely. I think Orianna does have a level of sustained damage, but it's one of those things where she's kind of bursty, every 3 or 4 seconds, right? Because you're basically waiting on the QW combos over and over again, assuming they hit and assuming you're even in range to hit them in the first place. I think that's the idea with the Braum. It allows you to kind of close that gap a little bit better so that your damage is a little bit more consistent. That being said, you're correct. The poke that's going to come out from Victor and Smolder throughout that team fight might be a little bit too much, and Braum shield is only going to last a few seconds, and once it's gone, it's gone. And I'm not really sure what their answer to that would be, but we do see the Ashe coming in. Your typical Ashe Braum bot lane, very strong in this meta. Also pretty good into Smolder. It's going to allow them to limit Smolder's movement capabilities, especially when she tries to fly away.
Sure. This is actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something I was thinking about earlier when I was thinking about the drafts that these teams are going to go with, especially with Braum Ashe, not only because of the synergy with the slows and the stuns, but the ability to posture really aggressively in the lane. That opens up so many capabilities for their jungler to just take a lot of space, both in like neutral objective territory, but then also maybe to invade a little bit better, because if you're permanently keeping Smolder and whatever their support's going to be under turret, it makes it really hard to push out, get information, and the ability to deny that CS and that XP is so important when you're going against a scaling ADC like Smolder, who wants to get that farm, wants to collect the gold underneath the turret, wants to deny you that early pressure, and paired with the Nami that doesn't give them a lot of aggression in that bot lane, gives them a lot of sustain, but it means that they won't have as many offensive chances.
Exactly, yeah, and the matchup between Braum and Nami is pretty even, especially with these AD carries. I don't imagine that we'll see much action going on that bot side unless Wukong or Xin Zhao come down and make it a chaotic festival down there. But what is interesting is the Mordekaiser pick coming out against Alawi. No problem at all. So immediately we got some aggression going down on the bot side. We've got Ashe and Braum trying to take control of this early bot lane, trying to possibly push off Root and Socks from the lane. I don't expect much more aggression to be going on down there as we skip towards the top side. Alawi gets hit by the Mordekaiser slam, which is immediately going to pop her bone shield and make the lane a little bit easier for the Mordekaiser. We'll have to see if he takes advantage of that going into this first wave. Both junglers starting on their respective blue sides. I don't see any ward. Oh, no, I do see wards. We do have a ward from Baggy Pampers placed on the Raptors, trying to see if they can spot out Wukong before he passed down. They're going to get some extra knowledge bases off that ward and possibly be able to play off of that. We'll have to see if Xin Zhao actually passes into that bot side jungle and takes advantage of anything. Orianna taking a little bit of an early lead in the mid lane, able to push Victor off that wave, but I think that Victor should be able to secure the rest of that CS.
There it goes. Fantastic. We are Okidori now.
There it is.
Finally. Sorry about that, broadcast production, but that's why we do everything like this, just in case things go wrong. So catch me up. So yeah, looks like the lane states are doing, I mean, they're fairly even right now. Still expect, like we said, that Braum and Ashe lane to kind of get a little bit of an advantage. Jungle pathing. Interesting though that they did place a fairly aggressive deep ward, so they do have vision on Wukong. So they definitely know when he'll try to make any potential early play. Orianna gonna get stunned there in the mid lane. Isn't it always fun?
Trade there.
Isn't it fun seeing mage players just try to auto attack each other to death when their stuff's off cooldown?
It is, and I remember an old adage that used to be said in the First Blood, possibly
First Blood.
Orianna barely making it out there by the skin of her teeth. What I was getting at is an old adage. You might remember this back in the day. Auto attack Annie. I remember when auto attack range made that a viable strategy. Yeah.
It used to be that you could stack AD or crit items on her for a little while, and it was just obnoxious because she had the longest attack range of any champion, including when he says, "Oh, flash forward, Taylor gets the level up. One more auto would do it, but the Orianna just managing to get out of range is going to have to take the immediate back and aggressive summoner spell usage, but worth it, I think, if you're the victor."
Definitely. I think if you're the victor, you're proud of that one, especially if he stays in just a little bit longer, maybe catches 1 or 2 more waves, gets his quest EXP up quite a bit over Orianna. You're also not going to really be caring too much about the flash blow, considering that your agency in the lane is a little bit stronger than Orianna with your slow that you can actually stop the gank from Nardon. I'm curious to see what Orianna builds this game. Yeah, it almost seems like she's going to surely go for a majority bursty build.
Yeah, well, she's got that dark seal, so that indicates that she's trying to kind of stack some of that initial burst, and then they try to get some cooldown reduction so you can do that over and over again. But we'll have to keep an eye on that atomization because, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. And if you're starting to find yourself going down early in lane, you may have to adjust your path, your item pathing, regardless of whether or not you want to. Also want to point out, very important, that unlike the savage LCS, the uncivilized professional league, there were no blabber crabber incidents within the first couple of minutes. So the junglers very respectfully chose opposite sides of the map and decided that they were not going to give each other first blood opportunities and just, like polite gentlemen, passed each other like ships in the night.
That's right. I believe there should be some Kalshi influence there, influencing their eagerness to not fight over that crab. What I was also going to mention earlier that I forgot to point out is that we were talking about Root on Smolder, and particularly how it's going to be slow to build up her items that she needs to really be a powerhouse later in the game. What we didn't mention is the changes. Oh, a little bit of action mid. Okay, nothing's really happening there. What we didn't note is that there were changes to the quests to make it so that, you know, 80 carry items are going to build faster by virtue of the gold costs being reduced, gold being funneled back into you once you complete your legendary items, and I think that's going to make Smolder players a little bit happier this season.
Well, speaking of Smolder players, that's going to be the bubble going down. Gaming wants to try and get away, but the damage is coming through. Ignite traded back, stun from the Braum, and they will politely, after trading some health bars, walk back. But yeah, definitely TTQ going to be getting the better of that trade.
Definitely. Potion down for the Ashe, whereas Smolder still has Potion on standby. Not to mention that Smolder has the barrier. Did Ashe blow barrier? No, though. She still has it, which is a godsend. It's going to allow her to stay in this lane a little bit longer. She doesn't have to back just quite yet. Meanwhile, we do have both junglers respecting each other still. Have yet to invade at all. Just doing a full clears over and over again. I wonder when the first gank is actually going to come through. We might see it topside right now.
Yep. Nard, gonna clear out that ward. Ping is going down, so not much going on there. Again, just, I think, good positioning by It's Ricky to kind of make sure that he's not going to get caught out too far on the lane. And that's, I think, what we were kind of projecting, too, was the junglers, they're going to want to get busy there, but it's really hard unless one guy or the other is too push, as I can't speak, push too far forward. And so I think both just trying to be conservative with it again. The question I have for you right now is, now that all things are still equal, it's a very minor gold lead for BP right now. Is that first move towards that neutral objective, as pings are starting to go down towards that Chemtech Drake, you know, just kind of walk me through what the steps for both teams are to try and make that happen.
I think if you're on the side of TTQ, you're going to have to get vision down there early. You're going to have to push out your waves perfectly and in sync on time. If you do not, I don't think that their team comp just generally wins anything at all in this mid game. Yeah.
Oh, yep, that's going to be first blood going down to Silver. Locks It's Ricky down. You are going to Brazil, he says, as he locks him into the Shadow Realm, gets that first blood, and BP going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, very surprised. You know, in the early game, it's a mid-level. Alawi does have a strong lane presence against the Mordekaiser. Should have the advantage there. I wonder if maybe he missed an ability, missed the soul take. But somehow, yeah, Silver comes out on top there. Gets the first blood for his team.
Yeah. Most importantly, though, It's Ricky did hold on to the bot lane. The Empower Q is going to start to go into Root. She wants to try and get away, but Baby John's doing it, blocking a lot of that damage. The return. Socks trying to get away. It's Bomb going to come out. Socks soon to drop. A little bit of healing underneath the turret. Not enough. And now Root's going to get locked up as well. But should be okay just to trade a little bit more aggressive, but has to avoid stepping too far forward. But it's a 1-for-0 trade to the bot side for BP.
Yeah, they're going to feel really good about that. It's going to definitely boost their confidence going into this set. Going 2-0 always feels good. When you're in solo queue, it feels amazing. But when you're in competitive League of Legends, it feels great. You know you've got two strong winning lanes. Not to mention, I don't know if we've noticed this, Mordekaiser's up nearly 30 farm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is chilling like a villain on that top side. He's just, you know, slowly cooking. He's not in any rush. No junglers bothering him. He can freeze this wave, passively push it out. It's good times up there for him.
Yeah, and that's the thing you really want as Mordekaiser. You don't want any interference from those pesky junglers. You just want to hit things with your mace over and over again, and that's it. I'm curious to see if now that Alawi is going to start getting some items, if it's going to get a little bit easier for her to do some trades. And as we can see right now, it takes the soul, does some damage, but that Mordekaiser shield's just tanking a lot of that damage.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, he's just going to be able to shrug that off. He'll be able to kind of passively heal some of that back, actually. And his itemization is going to feel really good, especially in this point where he can just slowly, passively push down. I mean, don't let that health bar deceive you. It's like, oh, well, he's only at half health. Like, he's about to not be. That health bar is very deceiving, especially when locked in the Shadow Realm, and especially with the ability to passively heal something back with the shielding. So definitely a matchup that we want to pay attention to as it kind of goes on. But we're almost to the 9-minute point, so we're starting to get to that area of the game where the laners start to kind of break out a little bit, and we start to see players get a little bit more proactive around the map, start to try and make more advanced, more active advances. Neutral objectives is I think my client might be a little bit behind you. I'm not sure, but it looks like blue side's going to go ahead and start up. Sorry, TTQ is going to go ahead and try and start up the dragon potentially. They're posturing that way. What is your game time?
I'm going to pause it and wait for you.
I'm 9.
Now I think we're matched up.
Okay, because I'm 9, 14, 15, 9, 16.
Okay. I'll get it synced up.
Gotcha. That was my bad. I think I was fooling around earlier, and I think I desynced it when I was trying to fix the string thing. So. No,
you're good. I think what we missed during that time, or you might have, I think you mentioned it quickly. Nard able to get those the crabs for his team, not crabs, grubs rather.
Grubs.
And we did not see a trade, and that's because there was immediate pressure onto the bot side, preventing Pampers preventing Team Q from responding with a dragon take, and we see Nard immediately going on the dragon.
Yeah, that is really surprising to me that they weren't a little bit more proactive, because they knew that Nard was up there trying to take this grub. So for me, the call, I think, not to immediately try and go grab drag is surprising. So it's almost like you're kind of having your cake and eating it too if you're Baggy Pampers right now, being able to just get those both early objectives. It was a little bit later of a drag take than I think normally you would expect, because junglers, I think, especially with the changes to the game, have become way faster in trying to grab those early drakes. But I mean, happy either way. Oh, nice double bubble, Socks. Defending root, very good, very clean there. But it's unfortunate there's really nothing they can do with it right now, because they don't have pressure in the lane, they don't have the damage. So even that double bubble, it isn't particularly threatening.
Right. It isn't particularly threatening. They don't have the damage to be able to follow it up. But something that we talked about earlier in the game, and it's kind of coming true here, is that this team composition on the side of Baggy Pampers is giving them a lot of strength in this early game, and has allowed them to take advantage of it, of both objectives. I don't think they should have been able to take both, but by proxy of their team being built this way, I think it was inevitability if Team Q didn't take advantage of Nard being in the top side.
Exactly. And now what I'm excited is the fact that because this early game... Oh, fully noited. Hold on. I was going to make a point about not being particularly bloody and a potential team fight. But Noy, he's going to flash in. Wants to get on top of him. Gaming Lord is going to get the barrier off, but it will be the first to fall. Wave comes out. Mom on top of that. Baby Josh just trying to delay the inevitable, but the Monkey's going to get the final slay. It's a double kill on the bot side for TTQ, and they are on the board. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Orianna trying to win this long fight, but the ult doing so much passive damage. Nard wants to try and get in underneath the turret. Flash for flash. Getting slowed, the Q, a little bit of shielding, and he dies to the turret. Orianna, the next one left. Zoiler, oh, how greedy do you want to be? Does he want to get it? He can smell the kill, but no, not going to be in range to get it. But a play going really badly for BP in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think Nard just trying to overstep a little too hard there, trying to take advantage of Taylor Swift's burnt flash, not realizing that the shield was already off cooldown. Taylor able to slow him down just long enough for the tower to take the final shot there, doing massive amounts of damage. And you just hate to see it if you're on the side of Baggy Pampers. I feel like Nard should have just taken advantage of the fact that the jungler's bot side immediately take his blue buff, but Absolutely. It is what it is.
And this is why I love League of Legends, because just when you think you're on top and everything is going well, and maybe you're starting to get a little momentum again, one bad play can turn it all around, and that was exactly what we saw. Combining that play in the bot lane with fully noited, getting that double kill, which is going to feel really good as the Wukong. Now you can start to feel like you're going to get some agency, coupled with the play in the mid lane. It's all tied back up. There was a little bit of a gold lead starting to build, but now that's going to be completely gone. But even as I say that, though, Silver just going to get the passive kill onto Ricky, has complete control on that top lane. Look at the CS difference. Look at the kill difference. He already has a completed item. It's already 12 minutes. It's disgusting. Completed boots and a Rylai's. Oh, no.
We're seeing an absolute canyon in the top side, and I hate to say it so soon in the game, but it's just true. Mordekaiser are able to just absolutely run down its Ricky. Silver doing an excellent job piloting that champion, working towards Mordekaiser's strengths, and we're seeing him take an absolute taking absolutely everything in this top side. He's about to get his third plate of the game, and we should see a nice gold shift back in the direction of Baggy Pampers. But like you said, before this kill topside, yeah, there was about 1,000 gold lead for the side of Baggy Pampers that Team Q was able to solidify back only to about 200 gold. Now, of course, there's been a kill since then and a few plates, which has brought it back out to about 800 gold.
Yeah, and it's important to note that the entirety of that gold lead is basically on silver. It's almost 2,000. Yeah, it's not quite crested over yet, but it's still a lot, especially in a 1v1 matchup. And now, I mean, you're looking for a potential jungle situation. How do you go up there and get involved with it, knowing that if you try and gank him, he's just going to turn around and kill you, and it really doesn't feel like the Alawi can do a whole lot?
You know, this is one of those things that I always tell my team, ban Mordekaiser, because if that champion gets ahead at any capacity during the game, it is virtually impossible to play against. And the reason why, and something I just absolutely love Riot for having done, is that Quicksilver does nothing. You're stuck in his ult. It doesn't matter what you do. You're stuck in his ult. You're stuck in the void, and you can't escape it. And he's going to kill you.
We have very different opinions of the QSS being in it. I hate the QSS. Oh, Orianna, Taylor, gonna throw down the ultimate. Not enough auto damage yet. Trying to flash underneath the turret, but it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Flash is burned, but a 1-for-1 in the mid lane to the gold going nowhere. Back to my QSS rant. How dare you say that Riot has put QSS in a good spot, sir? Well, I have no defensive mechanisms as a mid laner to get away from all this CC. I used to be able to walk away from more, and now I can't do anything.
Oh, no. I'm being facetious. I think the changes to Quicksilver are horrible.
Bring back Banner at command.
That's right. Yeah, no. The fact that you can't get out of the Mordekaiser ult, you are stuck in there. There's no items to help you. There's no counter to it. Is absolutely ridiculous. It makes this champion just an absolute burden to play against, and you pretty much have to camp the top side and prevent Mordekaiser from getting this lead early, or this happens, what we're seeing now.
I like the way you put that, a burden to play Mordekaiser, because it is a burden to play Mordekaiser when he gets to that point. It's a pain. Like, you have very few options to get him, and then you're just the top laner, you're just crying for your jungler, and he's like, I'm not coming up there, because it's a double kill if I do.
Yeah, you almost have to either proxy him, or you have to just handshake with your bot side and say, hey, we're getting our quests a little bit later this game, and you just switch lanes, because otherwise
team fight breaking out on the bot side, try for the dragon. It's going to be the ult coming down on top of multiple, mom on top of everything. In addition to that, who's going to die first? Is it's going to be fully noted going on a killing spree. Ashe, the first to drop. What else can they get? The Ori ball on top of 2. Damage started to come through. Dragon still aggroed, still not being taken. Nard slowly being stunned, slowly being burned away, but it's a triple kill for the Orianna. And now what else can they do? Taylor Swift is just trying to run for his life. Health bar slowly ticking. But ultimately, a 1 fight is it's a 1-for-3 in that mid lane towards the dragon fight, and dragon secured for BP.
Yeah, please investigate popping off in that team fight. Taylor Swifty's had to run for his life there, and that was a very interesting play by the side of Team Q. It looked like they had the advantage going into that fight, but a few missteps, and Orianna and a good Orianna ult just turned it completely. I think we saw, fully noted, get a 3-man knockup with his ultimate, and I thought at that point the fight might have been over, but please investigate playing out of his mind and able to get a nice triple kill.
Yeah, and insult to injury too, because they're faster back onto the map because they had so many surviving members. That gives them instant access to this Herald. And that's kind of the side effect of what happens when you lose these big team fights. Ping's coming down. It's a little late for this. Fully Anointed wants to try and see if he can get something, but ultimately I think they should just back off. They're going to damage up the clone just to make sure that he's not standing there, and ultimately this objective is going to go down to Nard. And yeah, that's the momentum swing that we're talking about in those big moments, and now BP fully in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I think when you're on the side of a Mordekaiser with a 2,000 gold lead, you lose all top objectives. I mean, maybe you could fight for Baron, but you're not going to get the Herald unless you have all 5 members up there. And
Sox get a flash out, and Ashe Arrow, long range Ashe Arrow on top of the Smolder. He's going to be sure to drop Nard, get a kill Root. She's going to be regretting that play, stepping up so far in the lane. But, I mean, all credit where credit's due. She had every right to think that she was safe under there, but just didn't expect any of that angle from the brush. And now going to get knocked down in this mid-turret, the next to fall.
Yeah, they're going to get this mid turret and feel even better about their lead. I mean, if you're on the side of Baggy Pampers, your team comp is working to perfection. This early and middle game control is going exactly how you wanted it to go. I think that the Braum, like we mentioned earlier, and how we saw when they were taking this Rift Herald, Braum kind of just walks up into the brush on the top jungle, sits there with his ward. And you can't do anything if you're on Team Q. You have to back off. You're not going to kill Braum, and he's still got his shield.
Yeah. And the follow-up to that, too, is now the rest of the team has so much more agency to play across the map. They can start to knock down some of these other objectives. And not to harp on it too much for TTQ, but they're really in a bad spot right now because they don't have a winning member. Like, if you're looking across, they don't have any significant gold invested into any of these solo carries. They're a long way off from being powerful victors, a long way off from being able to be that monstrous team fighting threat. Smolder, same thing. This is what we were talking about. Like, it is a high execution play comp for BP where you have to hit everything, but when you do, God, does it hurt.
It hurts a hell of a lot. And yeah, you're completely right there. If you're Root right now, okay, let's put ourselves in Root's shoes.
Yeah.
She's probably sitting there thinking, all right, everyone, don't worry. We just have to survive another 30 minutes. You know, I mean, because at this point, if this keeps escalating, we're going to see the next two dragons going to the side of Pampers without much of a fight. And I don't think at the end of the day that you're able to really pull through into that late game if Soul goes over to the side of Baggy Pampers. But I guess we're going to have to see what Soul they get. I mean, I guess if you're on the side of Team Q, you're hoping it's Cloud. I don't really know which Soul you're hoping for. All of them seem pretty detrimental.
Well, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Cloud Soul, or not Cloud Soul. It's going to be Ocean Drake. No, that's not Ocean. That's Cloud. Yeah, so it is going to be the Cloud Soul. Two questions for you then, because, I mean, you bring up a good point. Like, if you're TTQ, you really want this matchup to go really long time. Like, you definitely have win conditions if you get, like, a 35, 40-minute game, as Silver's going to immediately lock its Ricky into the Death Realm again, and he's just hoping to survive right now. Ult's going to come down, but it's really not going to do a whole lot right now because the shielding, just what we were talking about, missing that Q is going to cost you a lot, and he's slowly ticking. And Silver is no worse for wear in that top. Just ate the full, like most other champions, eats an Alawi ult, you're dead 5 times over. But this Mordekaiser, no, just eats it for breakfast, no problem. He's going to grab him out from underneath the turret. He could stay there underneath the turret and grab him.
Yeah, I think if you're Silver, you run him down there. I think he should have just kept going.
All right. Trying to flash underneath the turret, fully anointed, doesn't get traded back out, so it's a 1-for-0 kill. Top lane turret traded. As I keep trying to...
nice.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. A nice 767 gold shutdown going over to fully anointed. And remember, he already got some shutdowns early in the game. We just saw a nice little 600 gold swing.
Yeah, wombo combo. Folks, that's not your jungle. And Root's gonna be like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I just saw the fish get killed. I don't want to also end up as Dragon Sushi. Well, the question I wanted to ask you, which is now going to become rather moot, I've been trying to ask you this whole time in the last couple of minutes, is that a teleport? Oh, no. Oh, no, guys, this is not your play. You do not have the damage for this. They're going to try and step up in this corridor with the blue team. They want to fight. They think they've got the man advantage. They get the soul damage, but a lot was just used there in that small corridor. Oh, Mordekaiser doesn't quite grab anybody, but Gaming Lord having plenty of time to fire on the backlight. Red side just playing this slowly. This is going to be allowing ult on multiple people. That's the shutdown. The blue side, are they able to turn it around? The health bar is not favorable right now, but they want to try and chase this down. The question I was going to ask you about trying to give over that potential Dragon Point, but TTQ, they have taken the game to their hand. They say, we will not give up Dragon Point. Baby Josh, all these health bars are so low. It's so tempting, and with the fish back in, you can start to heal up a little bit. You can take this fight really slowly. Black Mage, I'm smelling a potential comeback.
Yeah, we talked about it during Champ Select. We said if Baggy Pampers groups up into a small corridor, they're going to get slammed by the AoE that Team Q has on deck. And we just saw it right there. It's Ricky doing massive damage with his ultimate and nearly killing all 5 members on the side of Baggy Pampers.
Yeah. No jungler there, so that's my fight. Was always going to be uncontested. Ash Arrow just to buy a little bit of breathing room, and Baby Josh... Game Lord, they all just want to try and get out of there. But yeah, exactly what you were saying. And the question I was going to ask you was, we had just mentioned them, TTQ, trying to stall out the game. We said like, they need like another 30 minutes for this. But now they've stalled the dragon stacking. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about that dragon point so much anymore. They have a little bit of breathing space. They can maybe give up one more dragon. But the question I was going to ask you too, so obviously stop the dragon stacking, but what else did they need to do now that they've cut that gold parity a little bit? What else do they need to do to get back in the game?
you've got to stabilize the lane states. You've got to have lanes constantly in the right setup for the objectives coming up. I think you can still place Ricky against Silver, but I think they're not going to opt into that. As we can see, Taylor Swift is heading down to face against the Mordekaiser. That seems a little bit safer to me. Orianna, even though she's going to outrange and pretty much just pester down Ricky, I think it's a little bit of a safer option. Mordekaiser can't really run down Victor and that bot side, and it's going to stop some of the bleeding. And that's kind of what you want, right? To answer your question, they just need to stop the bleeding, make the game last a little bit longer until they can get their items, and then force them into corridor fights.
Both of these teams are posturing really heavily towards this top side. Again, neither the mid laner for TTQ or the top laner for BP able to get up there quite yet. They're just trying to establish vision. They want to aggressively cut it wherever they can for the opponents and establish their own. So I expect to see this back and forth a little bit, this sort of macabre ballet dance of vision placing. But I think right now, for as long as BP were able to very heavily push this in towards this bot side, I think they're just going to have so much more agency. And as long as they have eyes on the rest of where TTQ are positioning, you don't have to worry about anybody ganking you. If you're Silver, you can kind of just continue to aggressively push this. But now, TTQ, in my mind, they need to do something to break out of this state.
Yeah, I think if you're TTQ, you are basically looking for a similar fight that we saw on that bot side right before Dragon. You're trying to drag them into a false sense of security. Maybe you get hit by the Ashe ult if you're fully noted and clone it out, followed by it's Ricky hiding in a brush somewhere. You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of off the cuff. But I think if you're on the side of Pampers, you just want to play to your strengths. Hey guys, let's look what we have here going well. We have a winning mid jungle synergy right now. We just need to play around them, get the easy Orianna, Xin Zhao combos, and just play off that. And I think at all times you want to track where Ricky is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is as long as you understand where that engagement can come from, and as long as you're understanding where that Alawi can position in these team fights, you can sort of mitigate that risk just by positioning correctly, by getting rid of it. Fully noted, though, going to complete his Trinity Force. Let's take a look at some of the itemization as well. Leandri's Torment, Blackfire Torch completed for Taylor Swifties. That's kind of the expected thing there. Interesting that he didn't go the Rod of Ages. I think that's kind of one of the most standard items for Victor. I think just kind of getting some of that tankiness. Curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Torchfire and Liandry's can be a strong combo. It's definitely good if you plan on longer, sustained fights, and I think that's kind of the vibe they're going for, right? They know that they can't really win a full-on 5v5 out in an open area, but I think in the corridors, around corners, where you can kind of land those Victor lasers and back off and kind of play around the range that's between him and Root's Smolder, then it makes a lot more sense. But like you said, you're a little bit less tanky. The damage is a little bit less than it would be if you went into an item such as an early Rabadon's Deathcapper or Void Staff. But it does look like he's going into either Crypt Bloom. He should go into Crypt Bloom. I would imagine it's going to be Crypt Bloom.
Yeah, I think you just want a little bit of that extra burst power just to kind of get some of those health bars low to these team fights. So it's a 2-on-2 right now. Wave committed, but no further damage going to be coming out from either team. Dragon in about 50 seconds. I'm starting to count down. If you're both teams, you'd really like to get this. If you're TTQ, you'd like to get this to give them a little bit more breathing room and just continue to further stop the Dragon stacking. If you're BP, I think from their perspective, if you get this Dragon, you're thinking, okay, we have the sustain that we need to maybe potentially go look to start a Baron fight, maybe try and pull TTQ in before they start to get some of their other items online that they don't have as much damage as they would like. But even as I say that, though, both these teams really posturing aggressively here. The top side, though, 2 members, they're still not getting ready towards this neutral objective fight.
That's true. Yeah, I think once this dragon spawns, we're going to see some either an engage on the side of Team Q to try to get some agency, or we're just going to see Baggy Pampers run him over. But right now, we got Silver already positioned down towards this jungle, or the bot side jungle.
Watch those wards, though. Some very, very aggressive wards behind them. Oh, as I say that, though, please investigate. Just got to go ahead and teleport straight towards the mid lane. I would have expected maybe a potentially more aggressive teleport, given that those wards weren't seen there. And also
Alawi on the outskirts.
Yeah, not a lot of vision. Ashe Arrow going to land onto 1. No follow-up damage so far. Orianna starting to join the fight. BP, they have a little bit more access to this dragon, slowly ticking both junglers up. Double stun on top of Silver and Nard. The other one against, but the health bar is already starting to get deleted. It's a chaotic fight. Blown on top of multiple. No one dropping just yet. Wave over the top. Ori going to kill Clinton. It's a double kill on top of the dragon. What else is available? Multiple members for TTQ dead. 3 alive, but it's a triple kill for Ori. That's a quarter kill in the end, and BP are going to walk away with a huge team fight win. The Dragon on top of that, and they're going to start to march down this bot lane.
Yes, sir. Please investigate. Please investigate this man's PC. This dude's freaking off his rocker.
Check him PC.
We just saw. Yeah, exactly. We saw an absolute monstrous team fight coming out from him and Fully Noted getting a lot of AoE damage on the backside. Him and Silver rather getting a lot of damage on the backside. I did see an excellent ultimate from Rick. I did see some excellent slams from Ricky. Unfortunately, it didn't look like his ultimate was up for that team fight.
No, looks like it just now has come back off cooldown, which is super unfortunate. And then because he had used it earlier in that top side and was just not available to him in the middle of that fight. And you have to think, I mean, if that's available, how differently does that team fight go?
I think it goes incredibly differently. I mean, if we were to rewind and watch, you could see that It's Ricky was begging for his ultimate to come off cooldown. He was standing in the entire backline of Pampers and couldn't do anything about it. He was able to just land a few Qs, a few slams, a few Ws, and that's about it.
Yeah. And one of the hardening things from a casting standpoint when you see a fight like that is everybody is just jumbled on top of one another. So it's almost impossible to see which abilities are getting used unless somebody happens to take a back step and throw it from long range. So it's really hard to diagnose what's going on in the middle of those fights. And thinking about it from a player perspective too is TTQ, they want to try and rush this Baron. Ping's coming down. BP know that this is happening, but the damage is very, very aggressive from this Baron. TTQ, you don't have the health bars to take this, and now your avenues of escape may have been cut down. Teleport coming from Malawi. What else can they do? Nard wants to get a 4-man ultimate, is surviving for now, but it's a bouncy castle in that topside brush. Ultimate committed from Braum, and now Please Investigate is unstoppable. What else can they get? They have TTQ stuck between a rock and a hard place. There is nowhere to walk. But BP, despite that having that position, are going to let them go. They're going to walk out, take their 1 kill, and possibly look to start up this Baron. Is this a position switch? Because now TTQ are in the same spot BP was just a second ago, only they don't have the damage, and they don't have a jungler for the smite fight. BP.
Watch Ricky. He's got his ultimate.
7K. It's Ricky. Is going to get locked into the death realm. They want to try and knock him down before any commit there. Damage going down to the Baron. It's going to get smited. They have the Baron. Can they get out with it, though? Damage started to come through. It's Ricky still alive somehow. Mom called on to 5, but nothing doing. TTQ, despite lingering around, despite their best efforts, not able to take it away. In this long fight, they don't want to let him go, but you're seeing the power of that BP comp just protect them, and TTQ have to wave that Baron goodbye.
They do, and it's so unfortunate. Ricky taking to the death realm, as you said, and while he was in there, I believe he had to use his ultimate in order to just simply survive against Silver, considering that they're in such close proximity to each other. That means that when he comes out of that death realm, he almost instantly gets blown up.
Mordekaiser teleport. That's going to be the wave called on top of 2, with Silver behind the entire backline. Taylor Swifty, no health left. Nard's going to slay the TTQ mid laner. Root not long for this world. And even though Smolder manages to get the Ash, it's a trade for nothing. 4 dead. TTQ, no one left on the map, and now it's just BP running it down the mid lane.
It's an absolute disaster for the side of TTQ. They thought they had enough time to be able to get that tower down, get some resemblance of gold back circulating in their pockets, and they're just not able to take advantage of it. Nard on the bot side of the map sneaks around and gets right on top of Root at the correct time, takes him out, and we see Taylor Swifties die as well shortly thereafter.
Yeah, time is a construct, my friend, and unfortunately, it's not well constructed for TTQ. You're right. I think very aggressive for them to think that they had enough time to try and knock down that mid lane just before the resets could come out. But Silver and others never really fully reset. They kind of just walk towards the top lane. His teleport comes off cooldown. Like, well, hey, why the hell not? Let's go ahead and make this play. Let's put a bow on this game and get out of this one. And you never want to call a game over before it's over, but TTQ, man, you want to try and get back in this one. You have your work cut out for you.
That's right. This is going to be a tough game if you're on the side of TTQ. You know, we were talking about, oh, let's just wait 25 minutes. I think that's going to increase another 20 minutes. I think you have to basically turtle in their base so hard and just wave clear over and over again. I mean, they have the tools to do it, right? They've got the Victor. They've got the Smolder. They have the wave clear tools. Ricky, plenty of wave clear there. It just depends if they are able to survive the Soul if they're able to survive the Elder.
This is the fight that determines the game. TTQ, you win or you're out. If you lose this dragon, if you lose multiple members, It is done for you. You have to find a way to win this fight, but they have no vision. They have no control over this neutral objective area. BP are doing such a great job of smothering them out of this area. They don't have to do anything. They can just continue to play this small. They can continue to play this slow. They're not in a rush at all. Fully anointed, almost half his health gone. Mom placed onto basically nothing. Fully anointed, though, managed to get a small ultimate. Now that's a shutdown on top of Mordekaiser. That gives you a lot of room to fight, but Orianna is dominating. Please investigate is putting his tools to the best use, and now Nard is slayed. The TTQ mid laner, and is all gone to hell for TTQ. They're trying to run, trying to do anything. It's a shutdown on top of the Orianna. Root. Nard wants to try and see if he gets something. This might not enough to kill Root. She's persisting, but she still dies. And Sox cleaning the fish, trying to run out of the river, trying to flop onto the land, but nothing doing. That's the dragon. Still picked up for BP, and they win the fight, but God, is it bloody.
They win the fight, and they should be able to get this dragon without any interference, unless Sox Clinton lands the most diabolical bubble we've ever seen in our entire casting careers. I think at this point, you really just have to hope that there's a giant misstep on the side of Baggy Pampers. I almost thought, for a second there, we might have seen it.
I did too.
Silver going down there very early on in the fight was a definite surprise to me. Ricky did a ton of damage, followed up by Root right behind him. And I think if that fight just went a little bit longer, if Root was able to back off towards the lane and didn't take so much damage from the Orianna, we probably would have seen the opposite effect.
Yeah. Huge team fight. I think huge team fight effort from TTQ. Obviously, it's disastrous, I think, to some degree, that they didn't come away with that dragon. So now that soul, that ability to kind of tank through some of this damage is gone. But for the side of BP, you're going to be very happy that you got that. That means the poke from both Root and from Taylor Swifties is going to hurt just a little bit less. But, I mean, to your point, it looked like they were doing it there for a minute. The damage on a Silver going down so early gives you that feeling of hope that you can maybe come out with a team fight win. But Nard just putting in so much work on the back end of that fight made sure that there was no chance for TTQ to come away with it. Nard, though, potentially caught out. Flash forward from Fully Anointed. They want to try and knock down this jungle. Huge Ash arrow to prevent any further follow of the second cast of that Wukong ultimate. And even though it cost him his health and a couple of abilities, he's still going to be happy to walk away with that one.
I think a little bit of a misstep there on the side of TTQ. They used a lot of their resources there to try to catch out Nard, knowing that the Orianna ball was there nearby to give some extra protection. Not only that, but Root blows out her ultimate, trying to get some more damage. But Nard's sitting there with a Guardian Angel, so even if you do get him down, the whole team's there to back him up. I just don't think you actually end up killing him, even if you're able to blow up as a Guardian Angel.
Yep. Watching this positioning here from the side of BP, it looks like they're potentially trying to corral TTQ into some more of these smaller areas that can catch people out. Controller's going to go down. Nard sees at least two, so they know who's waiting in the wings. They want to be careful about that positioning. Just because you have this lead doesn't mean it can't get flipped. But the item's pretty good for BP right now if they want to make something of this. Silver walking its Ricky into this 1v1. It's Ricky, though. It's very important to notice is doing a pretty good job of surviving. But even as I say that, the Orianna is here to make sure that that survivability chance is an absolute zero. One dead in the top side. BP, they want to try and put the finishing touches on this one. Baron is available now. Where will they fight for it?
Yeah, we've got some aggression coming out from the side of Team Q, despite the fact that their top laner's dead. I wonder if they think they can get away with taking a tower. Do they think that maybe they're taking the Baron right now?
Gamble. They get the gold, but is it worth it? You managed to get the objective, but now you got to find your way out of here. BP, they have access to the lane. They are in full control right now. They can start to walk this down, and it's this dual threat. We can either walk down your mid lane and take your inhibitor, or we go to Baron. You're down your top laner. You cannot fight us in this pit. They've started it up. Damage slowly being done, but they want to make sure that there's no egress into this Baron area. This is do or die for TTQ. You either gamble it all here, or you lose the rest of the game passive. Fully anointed, almost all the way down. There will be no jungle still. Zoriana's
taking tons of damage. He's probably going to fall here to the Ash Arrow.
Fully anointed, manages to get on top of 5, but goes down almost instantly. Nard getting on top of Root. She's trying to run, flap those little dragon wings. It's a double bubble, but it's not going to be enough to stop anything as the TTQ ADC is down, and that surely has to be into this game. Baron secured, priorities secured, and probably the win secured.
Most likely, you are correct. I think that at that, you just saw all the tools in the toolbox on the side of Baggy Pampers get used there. It didn't matter how many items or how many getaways you have on the side of Team Q. They're still able to run you down and stun you eventually. The Ash Braum combo there is just so disgusting. So many slows. I think Sox Clinton has gotten some excellent usage from that Mikhail's Crucible throughout the game. She's been able to unlock a lot of these champions from getting the hit with the. Hit with some CC, the Astro, for instance, but it just doesn't seem like it's been enough.
Here we go. That redemption going to do absolutely nothing to massage the damage being done to the health bars of TTQ. The Nexus falls, and BP go up 1-0 in the series. Into draft, as a couple of these selections have already been made. The band's coming out fast, so Talia still hitting the band board. TTQ is still trying to keep Investigate Please out of champions.
That's right, and a Bard ban as well. They Baggy Pampers has no, they have no indication that they're going to let this Bard go through, and they're really focusing a lot of their bans on that bot side.
Yeah. The Thresh also hitting the ban board as well. Interesting that the Prior and the Thresh is coming out now because that was a much later ban in the first series. But again, Ari hitting the ban board as well. So we'll continue to see those control mages banned out. Aurelian Soul. Playstyle wise, interesting. So I think some of the things that we learned watching both of those teams, that BP very willing to take fights when they have a lead. They definitely want to try and force it. They like to try and use that gold lead. And so when it comes to like informing draft, I'm interested to see what other champions they'll try and bring alongside that to kind of bring out that gameplay a little bit more and accentuate that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I wonder if we are going to see the same. Well, okay, well that kind of confirms it. A lot of focus from TTQ trying to ban out the control mages on the side of Baggy Pampers. We saw Please Investigate absolutely pop off on the Oriana last game. Now that that's been taken off the board, we have Victor off the board, Syndra, Ari, and Talia. The amount of control mages left for Please Investigate to play has been heavily depleted, and I wonder if he's going to opt towards something that actually will work with this Jarvan, such as Galio, but of course we're just going to have to see what gets picked by the side of TTQ.
Yeah, that Jarvan for BP, I think, opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. You can play that with other AD champions that have kind of interesting CC follow-up. You can also pair that with the traditional control mage and just see what you get. But I think just a generally flexible pick in terms of what you can draft with it gives you a lot of options, and it's super reliable. I mean, even if Jarvan's not doing a whole lot of damage, it's just great to have, that ultimate engage and just lock down a specific champion, especially if you're trying to target something like a mid laner or an ADC.
That's right. Something to note: the Haker does not play a lot of these a lot of Jarvan. Fully noted rather does not play a lot of the Jarvan. So it's gonna be interesting to see. That's not fully noted. Who's that? I mean, my name is mixed up.
Fully noted was former Team Q with TTQ.
Nard. My mistake.
Yeah, Nard. Yeah, but Nard does not play a lot of Jarvan.
Right, exactly. So I'm curious to see how this will end up working out.
Ooh, Sivir, interesting. Thoughts into the Sivir into the Kai'Sa matchup?
Kai'Sa has a huge advantage.
Yeah.
But honestly, it really depends how the bot lane plays out. I think support has a lot of agency in this lane. If you have a kind of passive support on the side of Sivir, it's gonna be a rough lane. If you have a passive support on the side of that's paired with Kai'Sa, it's gonna be kind of a wash. I don't think really much happens. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what gets grabbed here. And we do see the Leo coming out. Okay, this kind of changes things. Leo can do a lot of damage on the Kai'Sa, especially if he's on ZE.
Yeah, having that point-click CC, that non-committal CC as well, but just a hard engage on that Leona is really obnoxious to deal with, I'll be honest. Oh, the pike angle to kind of subtract from that Leona engage. Interesting. So they are choosing to fight fire with fire.
That's right. They want to fight straight up. I do like Team Q drafting this pike onto their team. It's going to allow them to play more of the roamy playstyle that they usually like to play with. I'm curious to see if their support, if Sox spends a lot of time moving around the map and influencing the mid and top lane like he usually likes to do.
Well, that's a great question, because with the changes to the game and the importance of getting those quests done, it's kind of become this understood thing where even if you're playing a mobile laner, you don't want to be too far outside of your lane because of how far that can set you back. Like that investment is super big in being able to get those quests done. And so I think it's a devil, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you leave, you have the opportunity to make these huge plays, especially when comparing with like a very active jungler. But at the same time, like, you're leaving your ADC on an island, and the enemy support is absolutely going to take advantage of that.
Exactly, especially in the case of having a Leona on the bot side, right? Kai'Sa has to play so safe. He's going to be probably stuck under tower, if not behind wave, to avoid the Leo jumps. And Sivir's going to be wave clearing non-stop, so you're going to be eventually getting to a point where Jarvan can come down to that bot side and you can just wreck Kai'Sa over and over again if Pyke tries to influence all the other lanes too many times.
Sure. Now, in the interim, Urgot, Zaheen taken off the board, as well as Twisted Fate, Galio. Interesting that BP took Twisted Fate and Galio off of the pool there. You would have expected one of those two champions to kind of be a prior there, even if it's not a high rate of play, just because of how well they synergize with the Jarvan. Now, this is a little bit of a backstory, this Shaco. TTQ in the team interviews, because we took time to talk to these guys and make sure that, we ask them all the fun and inviting questions and trying to learn about the teams. They said, and I quote, I think it was TTQ that said, or no, it wasn't TTQ, it was, who was it that said, if you see the Shaco, it's a cry for help?
It was TTQ.
Yeah, it was TTQ.
Exactly.
It was TTQ. Yeah. And in fact, I think for sure it was Root or one of the other. I think it was the Root. I think maybe it was Root or.
Fully Anointed.
Yeah, Fully Anointed that said, if you see this Shaco, it is a team-wide cry for help. Well, it's definitely a cry for help because they're going to need it as the Scion's going to get paired with this Leona. This is a this is a Protect the Sivir comp. That's what this is. Oh, the Azir too.
Exactly. Azir coming out for Baggy Pampers. They have a very clear identity of what they want to do. They're fighting front to back. Azir and Sivir are going to be absolute monsters come the late game, but I'll tell you what, they do not have a lot of priority on that bot side unless Jarvan plays extremely well.
They do not. And the Shaco is what makes that terrifying, because even as Sivir, even having some of the shielding to deny some of the CC, Shaco doesn't care about CC. He just cares about killing you really quickly with Ignite and daggers and scary spooky traps. And if you position too aggressively, that's exactly what's going to happen to you.
That's right. It will be Shaco versus Scion. I think it's a complete wash of a lane because, Shaco's never going to kill Scion unless you just absolutely get a ton of AP damage off. You place the traps completely correctly where Scion is just bouncing back and forth getting feared. Otherwise, Shaco has no real identity in that lane, and I would assume will spend a lot of time counter jungling with the Maokai.
And we are on to the Rift for game number 2. And very excited to see what both these teams will do. As I'm starting to get stream oriented, we're going to go there.
Minions have spawned.
And then let me pull up this. Here we go. I'm very interested to see how both of these teams will pilot their compositions. For me, I think to kind of get this conversation started off, I think right. For me, it's about the mid lane focus for both of these teams. The mobility that both these champions have. Azir, obviously having soldiers to travel throughout the map is very, very convenient. Cast him once you reach level 6 needs absolutely no introduction. And then for me, also the bot lanes as well. Because top side, I think we expect to be an island. And I think, right as you said, like, Silver's not at all worried about the Shaco outside of like some egregious misplay. So you're kind of just expecting that to be what it is. Like, you're kind of just expecting that to be a quiet lane for Silver to have mostly fairly good control. Is TTQ trying to get a little aggressive here. Rude wants to push aggressively, starting to stack the plasma. That Kai'Sa damage hurts. And yeah, starting to get control of that bot lane early.
Yeah, I think there's really only 2 scenarios we will see Shaco get a kill in the top side. A, he gets a kill right now when the Scion is relatively weak, doesn't have the items built up. Or B, Scion is pushing tower and gets fear bombed back into the tower over and over again. That's the only way I see Shaco getting a kill. And as we can see right now, Shaco's already half health, Silver at full.
Well, not only that, but half man as well. And that's the other part too, is like if you're looking at what the Shaco's trying to do, you're trying to keep Scion low health, and you do not have a large mana pool and really the great itemization to do that. It's a tough ask. It's not impossible, and obviously, especially if the junglers get involved there, possibilities open up. But this is one of the easier matchups, I think, if you're Silver. Like, one of the things you probably weren't expecting. So, yeah, definitely a lot of safety there. But the trade-off there is the bot side, though. That Kai'Sa plasma damage just sucks to have to eat.
Exactly. I know I just keep harping on this top side. It's probably annoying to some of the viewers, but to be honest, it's an interesting lane that we don't see quite that often. I think if you're silver, you get your first item, you proxy the rest of the game. There is nothing that Team Q can do to you. You can't hold the wave that well as Shaco unless you blow your boxes, blow your mana. You can't kill silver with a Maokai Shaco combo because he just laughs at your face and walks away. And even if you do, he's already killed both waves under the tower, and you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, absolutely. As I'm trying to get this stream bug thing, this overlay still needs a little bit of help, so we're going to try and refresh this thing. So if you want to... I guess actually a question I'll leave you with while I try and get this sorted out. So this mid lane, I mean, what is the numerical breaking point time-wise for when you can expect these guys to start trying to get a little bit more active around the map?
I think for both mid laners, you're not going to see them doing much around the map until around level 11 when both of their ultimates kind of come online, or rather the Cassid ultimate comes right on. But meanwhile, bot side, we've got an early engage onto Baby Josh, who's going to fall, giving first blood over to Root. A nice gank coming out from Fully Noted, able to grab up Josh as he went in there trying to get some damage onto the Kaisa and just fails miserably there. A good attempt for the side of Baby Pampers, but a great first blood. And if you're on the side of Team Q, you're feeling really good about that, both mentally after that first loss and morally. Just getting a first blood, it really helps the team dynamic, helps your team kind of do what you're trying to do. Gets Sox Clinton roaming earlier because now Kaisa has a little bit more power in the lane, can survive the 1v2 a little bit longer. Meanwhile, topside, Sion trying to run down the Shaco, able to get a grass proc there, forcing Shaco off the wave. He's only got 2 bars left. We might see him go back in if he's got his Q up, but it's a little bit dangerous. Meanwhile, bot side, Pyke's able to grab the Sivir with his Q, takes a tower shot, but is able to back off without much retaliation.
Yeah, it looks like that that spectator thing is going to be a little bit bugged there. It's not showing the correct series, but it's still showing the correct winner there as far as the first one. So it's still got the highlight. It's just not showing the correct numerical score, so it's unfortunate. We're still working through some of the bugs, trying to get some of the stuff figured out. But yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, just little broadcast things that eventually we'll get ironed out. Also, I think
we can always change it to be their total win score, right? Total wins against teams. Right now they're 0-0.
Yeah, and then also I think what part of the problem was is initially there was a bug trying to get it sorted in the first game, so I think there was a small issue there. So I think if it hadn't done that, it would have been fine.
Sure.
The next thing I think I want to talk about is Nard's going to try to go on top of Clinton, but we'll be able to get away there. What I want to talk about is the early itemization breaking point now that the first kill's gone over to Maokai, or sorry, not to Maokai, but over to Kaisa, which is really, really nice. She's going to be coming away with some of the early itemization. I always forget what that axe is called. But having that little bit of extra pressure in that bot side.
Oh, the Hearthbound axe.
Hearthbound axe, exactly. That Hearthbound axe gives so much extra trading in that bot side that you can start to really grind that pressure in and start to force BP's bot lane underneath the tower, and that opens up a lot of possibilities for neutral objectives. So I'm interested to see how they'll try and take that early prioritization that they're getting with that early kill.
Yeah, I think it really does open up the game quite a bit for Sox Clinton. You're going to want to start getting a lot of roams off following around Fully Noided. Maybe get some pressure onto the mid lane to make Taylor Swifty's life a little bit easier. Azir does have the advantage in this lane. He's able to poke out the Kassadin quite easily with his soldiers. And Kassadin doesn't have much of recourse.
Yeah.
Fully Noided.
Starting the bot side. Support's going to get stunned up. The will should just be the kill going down there. Root going to be very, very happy with that 2-0 star, and that's exactly what they needed. And now they can transition that over to the neutral objective.
Yeah, talk about deja vu there. The exact same play that happened back in 3:30 happens again with Root getting another kill on the board. And I mean it, literally, the exact same play. Fully Noided going down to the bot side, getting a nice grab onto Baby Josh. Baby Josh maybe playing a little bit too aggressive, doesn't have the vision there to be able to stop the aggression from the side of Team Q. And hey, we see the dragon fall because of it.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, Nard was able to go towards the top side and start to steal away some of these camps, so we'll expect probably the red buff to go down as well. But, I mean, not too much of a sacrifice. I think if you're a TTQ, you're going to be very happy with the game state. You've got the early drag, got the early kills onto your most important carry with that Kaisa. So for BP, I think for them, it's going to be about staying the course, because you knew this early game was going to be kind of rough. You knew that you weren't going to have prio in that bot side. You knew that you were going to slowly have to scale. And I think for them, it's just kind of stay the course, try not to give up too much across the map, and maybe navigate these next couple of minutes without really sacrificing too much, which I think they're going to be able to do. The gold is really not all that much to talk about. It's only 600 gold difference. It's definitely not like a doomsday amount. And as long as they kind of keep these lanes at parity and keep farming, I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're starting to see kind of what's going to be the story of this top side happening. Shaco is going to try his damnedest to get any sort of resemblance of damage on the top side, try to push the lane so that he could focus on this top jungle. We see him making his way down there, but ultimately it's just to get a plant because Sion's just going to push over and over and over again. And if you're the Shaco, you have to make a critical call. Do you try to play towards this top jungle, or do you just give up waves?
He's in a bad spot right now. He doesn't have ultimate, does have the boxes though, so should be able to get himself to safety if he wants to get over the walls. Sion with permanent pressure in that top side means that roaming through the jungle, roaming through that river isn't safe. Maokai, however, hovering. Ping's coming down. Pyke has joined the fight, so this should just signal for BP to go ahead and give up these grubs. It sucks to get that objective over, but it doesn't seem like there's a way for them to fight for it.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I'm kind of surprised. I know that the side of Team... Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Side of Team Q has a more straightforward comp, but I do like that Team Q is utilizing their... I guess the only word that comes to mind is the mischievousness of this Pyke roaming around with fully anointed to prevent any sort of vision control by the side of Baggy Pampers. And as we can see there, it ends up getting them both the dragon and the grubs.
Yeah, double dipping on that neutral objectives early on feels really, really good, especially if you have the ability to start pushing. I would say, though, that the grubs really just more feels like a takeaway, given that they don't have any pressure on the top side. Like, it's Ricky's, realistically speaking, not going to be able to push Sion underneath the turret and start taking plates. So you're really just trying to utilize what you're getting in bot side with Root and with Sox, just trying to get as many of those tower plates as they can. But outside of those minions knocking that plate off, it's kind of... I'm curious why Root didn't stick away there just to get one auto on that plate and just kind of walk away with that gold a little bit faster. If the camera pans down, I'd be interested to see if like that plate is still there. Because the whole point, I think, for them having that's pushing bot lane is to get those plates. And if you're going to stack the grubs, you might as well try and force for more.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think they're playing to their strengths right now. They're playing to the advantages that they've gotten bot side. And now we see the exact same play going down.
It's going to be the Maokai ult committed. And unfortunately, Josh will be the sacrificial lamb this time. It's just going to go down. Unfortunately, Sox is the one to get that one. You would have liked to seen that kill go down on top of the Kaisa, but it will be traded in the mid lane 1-for-1. So that rod, or sorry, that the Rod of Ages is completed for Taylor Swiftie, so nice to have that first item completion. Do they want to dive this? Sivir has ult, barrier, and flash. This would be a very risky dive, given they don't have a tremendous amount of damage underneath the turret. They will start to pick up some of those plates exactly like we talked about. And yeah, TTQ, they just want to slowly... Oh, gaming. If you were going to do it, you should have committed a lot earlier. He's only going to look a minion. That's the commit on top of Root. Hook back further. Sion ult on top of 3. Now they can start to turn this. Decimating smash on a 1. Fully noted, the first to go. Flash forward. Slow on top of Root. They may have bitten more. They get 2. It's a double kill for Silver. Taylor Swiftie teleporting, but to what end? Goes back over the wall, and that was a waste of a summoner. And TTQ, they got very greedy and get punished.
Exactly. Silver at the right place at the right time. I know there's going to be some sort of adage about fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. But honestly, we saw a third kill on that bot side. We kind of briefly covered over it with Baby Josh falling to the fully anointed. I think that gave them a bit of false confidence because we immediately saw some return plays mid, and then Silver makes that absolutely monstrous play bot side and does it. I want to note this. At the perfect timing when Shaco is already back in base.
Yes. Well, and the other thing is, too, is like you're kind of looking at Gaming Lord's positioning. You're like, oh, I don't know. Like, if you either stay underneath the turret or you back all the way off and give the plates. But he was kind of in this weird middle position as nice shielding from Gaming Lord to prevent getting hooked. It's Ricky. I want to make my point, but I may not be able to. As here, knocking down plates, action all across the map. And yeah, it's Ricky. I think he's just going to try and proxy farm the wave so that'll allow me to make my point. But you were looking at Gaming Lord's positioning and we're like, oh, I don't know if you should be there. Like, you're kind of going to get got. But I mean, the snap call from BP, I wonder what the comms, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall on what that call was to engage and say, no, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly. I would imagine that Silver must have communicated earlier on because we did see a turnaround from the side of Baggy Pampers as soon as he showed up on that bot side. But honestly, I think what we haven't really covered much of is just the immense lead that Scion is putting on this top side. It's growing the lead for Jarvan as well. And look what's happening. It's exactly as I predicted. Scion getting his first item, and now he's going to proxy for the rest of the game.
Yep. And we're starting to see this posturing from both of these teams towards this bot side. As Azir completed the recall, got the item, upgraded boots, already has that Nashor's Tooth. Interesting to see what they'll try to do as teleport's coming in. Scion, they want to fight for this, and maybe a little too late, though. 2,000 health. Jungler over the wall. Oh, it's a miss smite, but Kaisa secures it.
Flashes or
Nard wants to try and get this Conqueror proc to get this damage. They get the dragon, but they sacrifice the jungler for it. But it was just such an early smite. You thought maybe the steal would come through, but they get the kill. 2 kills at the end. Actually, they're able to take down Sox Clinton, so not a bad trade. If you're BP, yeah, it's 2 dragons, but you'll take that gold all the way to the bank.
Exactly, yeah. It's a 2-for-0. F's in the chat for Willow Smith there, just stuck in the dragon pit. Are we going to see anything on this top side?
Root wants to gank this. Nard with the flag, the drag, and the ult on top underneath the turret, but it doesn't matter. Barrier comes out, smite wasn't enough, and by the skin of her chinny chin chin, she manages to live. Root walking away, but a lot invested to survive.
Yeah, it looked like there was just a slight miscommunication. I'm not sure if the rest of Team Q knew that Jarvan was sitting on the bot side. They should have been able to track him at that point. But that being said, it looks like the only vision that Team Q has on the map is those wards that were just placed by Pyke and this pink that's over on the blue side.
Look at that CS difference. The time, like it's so rough for Shaco right now. I mean, it is almost 130 CS to 90. You're getting gapped by 30, and you're no closer to even remotely hurting that Scion. Like, he doesn't care at all that you exist.
He doesn't care that you exist, and also you're AP.
Yes.
So your scaling is very limited. And Scion itemization is going to mean that you do nothing to him in the late game. And who are you going to engage as the Shaco, right? Like, the idea is that you funnel Baggy Pampers into a situation.
Oh my god. He has ult. He could commit for this. Where you going, Shaco? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, doesn't get the Destiny Smash. Might need to back off here. Has ult, he can get away.
This is the only situation where I think Scion might die, and I think he's able to get away.
He's just going to walk away. Like, that's how dangerous this matchup is right now, is the fact that he's so far ahead. He's just looking in the face of 2 people like, I'm not worried about it. And now my friend is here as well, so I'm definitely not worried.
Acidin roaming towards that bot side. They might be looking for something.
No jungler to stop this. Caston starting to ult across the walls. Teleport. Azir knows this is coming. They've correctly called it, and now TTQ, they have to call it off. That Azir making his presence felt in that bot side makes it impossible for them to go with this. Flash out from the Pyke as well. I think he was safe. Oh.
Re-engage from the Maokai.
Sarima shuffle. It's Leona ult on top of that. Taylor Swift, he's really not taking too much damage right now. Azir's the first to go. The shutdown given over to Sox Clinton. What else can they get? Baby Josh slowly walking on. Flash forward. Root on top of the Leona. Hooked back even further. There's nowhere to go, my friend. It's a conga line of CC. Sox gets a second kill, and it will be happy to share that gold. And what might have looked like a reforce from BP gets turned right back on its head.
Yeah, it almost looked like Baggy Pampers thought for a second, hey, we've got the numbers, we've got our AD carry and support, and our mid laner all grouped up. Let's just push them out of this bot river. But Azir pushes a little bit too far forward. Please investigate, just not understanding the fact that they don't have the vision, they don't know where Fully Anointed is, and Fully Anointed on this Maokai gets an excellent ultimate off, traps in Azir, and we see Sox Clinton taking an easy execute kill.
Yep. Taylor Swift is going to be able to turn some of that early pressure, or some of that pressure, well-earned pressure in the mid lane into some turret plates. Not as many as I would have thought by now, given how much time Azir spent out of lane, but obviously it's one of those things where you're trying to respond to plays, so you won't necessarily have all the chances to get the gold. Now, I will say, and I think this is important, I'm curious what you think about this as well, is as disastrous as it was for those kills to go back over to BP and kind of bring that gold back to parity, you're still not upset with the game state if you're BP right now. Like, Scion is just completely and totally left on an island. He is infinitely scaling. He has been left alone this entire time. Like, you're not drastically down. You actually have a pretty decent gold lead. It's about 2,000. A lot of the gold lead that was on the Kaisa has kind of been mitigated. You're still putting these items together. Like, you're scaling, starting to come online if you're BP.
Yeah, I think if you're Kaisa, you're hoping to God that this Scion does not build any armor items, because if he does, it's going to become a serious problem. he is Kaisa rather, at the end of the game is going to be the only person that's going to be able to kill this Scion, especially once he gets to 2 and 3 items.
Yeah.
And he's going to be an absolute problem in this top side. Think about it. How does Team Q win a team fight if they have to position two people
Perfectly
to fight against this Scion split push?
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is, too, is you're talking about the split push going. The early neutral objectives of grabbing those Grugs. Oh, hold on. Bot side. Is the entanglement not going to have anybody now? Maokai going underneath the turret. Hook forward. It's going to be a commit now. Jarvan flag drag into 2. Ult committed from Sox. They're going to walk out with at least 1.
Clinton.
Fully anointed. Going to be sacrificed at the altar of the hubris. Can he get 1? Doesn't manage to get underneath the turret. It's a 1 for 2 so far. But Clinton mispositioned. Has to try and find a way to get out of here. Zero waiting in the wings. This should just be a 2 for 2. Can he manage to get forward? Flash to prevent him from launching the blast cone. And now the dragon is on the menu. And the thing that I wanted to talk about a minute ago was this ability for this Scion to make his presence known. He is giving so much agency for BP. They think about it, all the neutral objectives that they got in that early objective, getting those Krugs. Who was the first one to get a turret? It was Silver. And now he's doing the damage. He's eating so much of what TTQ wants to do. Flash forward. Oh, not going to get top of root. A little bit of a bop into the wall there, but they should be able to get this dragon. But Silver, my God, is he a problem right now?
A huge problem for the side of Team Q. I think if you're on their team, you're just saying, hey, we need to fight away from this Scion as much as possible. But how do you do that when Silver's on the objective? You're going to just get every objective every single time if you're on the side of Baggy Pampers. And it starts to become one of those situations where you're wondering how you even play the game out with Baggy Pampers winning on the sidelines and now on the objectives as well.
And Ricky's the next to go. Those shackle boxes just aren't going to do anything as Baby Josh gets it with the shield explosion. And I just want to point out that for a couple of, for 10, 15 seconds, Silver was being hit by 3 people trying to make his way towards that bot side and is none the worse for wear. Just walked out like a boss.
Yeah, he's against 3 bursty assassins. Well, and, so 3 bursty assassins with unending despair. He's going to be eventually healing more than the damage they can do. And, the only way to kill this Scion is you have to basically get him isolated and have free reign on Kaisa to just auto attack him over and over again. I think that's going to take a very long time to get to that point. I think Silver, once he gets to 2 and 3 items, is going to play away from the team. Side lane, you cannot stop him. How are you going to stop him? You're going to send Kassadin and Kaisa with Ricky to try to do some resemblance of damage to him. He's just going to back off.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to start to become an uphill battle for TTQ because they don't have the damage right now really to stop the Scion, and he's going to infinitely scale, well, pseudo-infinitely, because of the passives that he get with his shield. And it's 9 to 70 kills right now, which isn't really the best. I mean,
look at that.
If that was not the indicator of how this game is going, I don't know what is. Full burst commit, and it just he's full health. Nothing at all is going to stop this Scion, short of 5 people just beating him to death for a good solid minute. And it's a 5k gold lead. Even despite some of the team fight wins that it feels like TTQ's been getting, some of these individual picks, the reality is it's the kill advantage, the gold advantage, it's the itemization advantage, it's the pressure advantage for BP. As weird as it's felt like TTQ have been getting these cool plays, the reality is the BP is the one driving the bus right now.
They are, and they've got the scaling team on their side. I think Sivir wildly outscales the Kaisa in the late game. If you position well, Kaisa can land some sick, nasty ults, which are going to allow her to assassinate some key targets, maybe gets a lucky kill on the Sivir or the Azir. But ultimately, you've got Silver, like you said, infinitely scaling Pseudo because of the health build. You've got Azir scaling, Sivir scaling. Ileona becomes unkillable at the end of the game because she basically just turns into a secondary Scion. And Nard, if he gets, some huge MR items, he's going to be hard to kill too. And now you've got this divey comp with the Zir Nard going in, setting up some nasty plays with the Leona ultimate coming over the top. And their team fight becomes really, really hard to deal with.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm realizing that we didn't really cover and when we were going over the draft was as much of an early game onus as TTQ really wanted to have, to try and make sure that the scaling for BP didn't come online. If you're looking at the champions they drafted, they didn't really give themselves that many early game agency champions. It's still a lot of scaling. It's still Shaco doesn't really give you anything in the top lane, so you're not really winning there. Doesn't give you any early game plays because he's not roaming. He's in that top lane. So you can't just let Scion permanently farm without some sort of response. Taylor, that's going to hurt a lot. I don't know if you know this, that's a Scion and you do no damage. But in addition to that, you're still, you have to wait a while for your casting to come online. So the point I'm trying to make, and I'm doing rather a bad job of it, is that the early game onus should have been, oh, Silver, not going to get the decimating smash.
What do you do here?
Now there are 3 people that are trying to beat him up. He's not going to be able to have ult to get out, but he can't just try and walk away. It's taking 4 people to kill this Scion. He almost killed 2 people in the interim. He might actually get somebody, and mercifully after like 50, he still killed somebody, manages to kill the support. Now he's going to sit here under a turret. TTQ, you have bit off way more than you can chew. And this Scion is a menace.
Yeah, he's a menace, and they were able to get, they should be able to trade mid tower here for that.
Absolutely.
Those 4 people second top. Okay, they're not able to get the tower, but able to push all their waves and get a nice tempo lead, but we do see re-engage.
Twisted advance, but it's a 3v2. Taylor Swifties, this is your moment. These are the easiest to kill members on the entire team. You will never have a better moment, but it is gone in a flash, like a moment in a picture book. Page is turned, and the moment that you thought was yours, no. That's BP. That was the best chance you had to kill the Squishier members, and it's gone.
It is gone, and I think at this point, if you're on the side of Team Q, you might be regretting the fact that you drafted with a Kassadin mid, a Maokai jungle, and a Shaco top. You've got no agency throughout the game. I don't even think you have agency in the late game.
No.
Virtually into any combination of champions, and it's something that you really only will see advantages made if the Maokai was really ahead. But how are you going to be ahead into a Jarvan?
Oh,
he just runs away.
Flash drag, Cataclysm on a 3. That's the follow-up. Fear into multiple. With the Shaco clone, gonna buy a little bit of time. Taylor Swift is trying to get any kind of damage, but the Shurima shuffle onto 3. It's a double kill for Gaming Lord. This is the Dragon going to BP, and the scaling is well and truly here. TTQ, your laments will do nothing. Your scaling, your early game antics, nothing. BP is here to stay.
Please investigate, and Silver putting on an absolute show both of these games. I think we've seen absolutely incredible mid-game and late-game synergy between these two, working with Nard to perfectly control these objectives. They know what they want to do. They have a solid game plan. It just seems like they put in a lot of work into identifying what their core strengths are, how they would like to draft, and they're executing it perfectly.
Yeah, this Baron now just the sweet, sweet fruit of their rewards for all the hard work. And yeah, I mean, all the win conditions that we talked about, TTQ really needing to get right, have just not come online. This cast inconceivably has so much further to go before he will ever come a threat. I mean, he was in the middle doing as much damage to the squishies as good. Oh, TTQ, they want to try something here. This is the desperation. This is the frustration, knowing that you've been getting beaten in the team fights. You're trying to stop BP from getting out with literally everything. They just want to stop these backs. Find something. Find anything. Find a squishy to kill. But it's just not happening right now. Yes, you're harassing the backs, but a full commit to try and the most they're going to get is a blue buff, maybe some jungle camps, but that's it. That's the frustration starting to come through in the play right now. Even if their comms aren't frustrated, the way they're playing, it's like, man, we're getting beat on every facet of the map right now. We have nothing going for us. We have to try something, and they just found nothing there.
Yeah, you're pretty much playing on your last leg, and here we see San trying to run it. He's just gonna wave clear. Escape by the Kaisa. Gets knocked up though by the San Q.
Root gonna be the next to fall. Silver gonna be happy to pick that one up. BP, they're just putting the finishing touches on this game. They are not threatened by anything that TTQ is bringing. They can slowly start to walk this up mid. They have 5 strong with Baron. Nothing they can do. A minute 49 to Baron. This is going to be a long siege, and you already have one dead. Like, your best wave clear is gone. Kassadin, not going to clear those waves fast enough. This might be the end of the game. They might be able to end here.
I don't think they'll have enough minions. I think this last minion is about to die. Kassadin
Kassadin cut the wave. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did cut the wave, but that being said, I think we might see a miracle play here if they're able to catch the Sivir or the Azir, but it's not going to happen.
Not when you lose half your health and 2 autos, my friend. That is not the recipe for success. You can't even clear. They can't even clear wards right now. Like, that is how aggressive Silver is. Like, if the Scion walks at you, you have to leave. Like, that is just the reality that TTQ is facing right now. And I don't want to harp on them, but man, like, the execution of this comp, and again in the beginning game, it seemed like it was going well. Root, she was getting kills, had that early advantage on the itemization, had the pike there as well, providing additional security, but then just a couple of misplays underneath the turret, some trades going even. Like, if you were trading evenly with a scaling comp in the beginning of the game, that is not good.
That's right. I think we should identify, like you said, the good things that Team Q has done this game. They did identify early on that the only way they were going to get any resemblance of a lead is by playing through that bot side. And we did see it. Maokai went bot. He got a few kills for their team. They were able to kill Baby Josh 3 times with the exact same play setup. And it just didn't amount to much in terms of objective control. Sure, they have 2 dragons, and they've matched dragon stacking. But at the end of the day, we have a 10,000 gold lead purely off the backs of Silver and Azir doing their jobs.
Yeah. And this has just been an absolute impressive performance from Silver in both games. I think if you had to pick an MVP, it would have to be this top laner for BP. Just an absolute threat. And then I think the other thing, too, not being selfish with that lead. Like, using it very effectively. Using it to get money for the rest of the team. Using it to get pressure. Transitioning that pressure across the map. Making plays. Not just slowly staying in the side lane and go, well, you guys do the rest of the work. I'm just going to go up here and fight for myself. Like, no. Being a fantastic team player. And if you're thinking about the rest of this tournament, the rest of the series, this is a player that's definitely going to have to be on watch for all these other teams. And you're going to have to find ways to counter this guy because 2 incredible performances so far.
Exactly. I mean, if they win this series, they're going to be playing against my team in the next set next month. And I will tell you this: we are not letting that Mordekaiser through. And I will also say this: we will have some kind of answer to this Sion because he looks incredible on it. And like you said earlier, we saw his TP down at 10 minutes, a totally selfless play, and it ended up resulting in a huge tempo swing for their team.
Yeah. And right now, if you're TTQ, not to, bury them too far because, a game is never over till it's over, but this is a 10k lead. They only have a couple of 100 gold lead in a few positions, in the positions that don't matter right now. I mean, Sox Linton, health is gone in just a couple of bottles. Twisting advance, though, from the other side. This is a decent setup. Nard trying to separate the team fight. Root left all on her own. No follow-up. Had to hit the emergency exit button. Fully anointed. Also alone. This is a split team fight from TTQ. They don't know who to go on because the damage isn't enough. Silver flashing forward. Barrier not enough. The Q from Gaming Lord are going to be enough to pick that one up. Taylor just trying to run away, trying to do anything to stall this fight out. Jarvan going to start to make his way forward. Is low health. Ping's coming down. But as long as Silver is up, you have no chance of winning this fight. You have to find a way to get the Sion separated. He's going to be teleporting back in. Azir ready to fight again. Silver coming under the back where he's fully anointed. He's going to get knocked up, smashed, bopped in the head, and sent to the Grey Realm. Azir on a killing spree. Please investigate. Going to be very happy to walk away with a kill. And after a long team fight and a long grueling slog, BP come away with a team fight win, and they come away with a drag.
Exactly. I mean, you've got a lot of these 50 caliber rifles on the side of a Team Q, but what is a 50 caliber to a Sherman tank? In fact, a set of Sherman tanks. It didn't seem like they do anything to Nard, Silver, or even Baby Josh. They just stood there and took it, and now you've got huge damage coming out from the Azir. Great plays from Please Investigate almost all game, and a sick Azir ult coming out.
Shurima shuffle onto the one who's going to kill the Shaco. There's just nothing doing. TTQ trying to run and hold on to what's left of their base, but Nard wants to go underneath into the fountain. They're going to kill Taylor Swift. It's 5 dead for TTQ. Fuel Anointed will come up just soon enough to see his base fall into shambles. The Smite not going to do anything. BP, they're taking the victory lap. They're putting the final touches, and they are going to advance 2-0 into the regular bracket and feeling pretty good about this win.
Exactly. We've got Baggy Pampers putting on an absolute show, really showcasing what they're all about, what their strengths are as a team. And I think if you're the rest of the teams in the bracket, I know I am sitting here right now, you're thinking, man, we need to prepare a little bit better to face against this team because they really put on a great show. That being said, I do want to harp on the fact that TTQ is not out of the tournament. They do have another opportunity in the losers bracket to play against the loser of the next set, of the next 2 sets rather, to determine if they can make it through the losers bracket back into finals. And I think we will see them give us a better showing next time once they can kind of iron out some of the team comp kinks that kind of pulled them back in the series.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to harp on, exactly, or not to harp on, but rather to point out, like you talked about, is it's not all doom and gloom for TTQ. There's moments of brilliance where you can see that they have the concepts there, they know what they need to do, they have the ability to make it work. It's just the individual execution in some of these matchups and in some of these moments wasn't great. You could see the moments of brilliance where they're correctly recognize their win con, where they know they need to dive bot lane, get the Kai'Sa ahead, use your mobility, and try and pick off some of these members. But just in some specific moments, they bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and they end up getting set behind. But to your point, point, I think we're definitely going to be able to see more of them as they sort of advance throughout the rest of this bracket. We don't have the graphic available. I can't pull it very conveniently, but what'll happen is TTQ, they won't play the first match in the losers bracket because they had to play this opening matchup. They'll go to the next matchup after that one. So the 4 teams that will play in the next 2 matchups, the loser of those will come down to the lower bracket, and then the winner of that one will have to play TTQ because it's a fairness thing because of the way they were seeded. So, and because we have an uneven number of teams, so it's a little wonky. But I think, obviously giving the respect to TTQ, but we got to give kudos to BP. I mean, they rock and rolled from minute 1, game 1, and I think MVP of that series for me, it has to be Silver.
Yeah, I think if you have to give it MVP, you either most likely it goes to Silver, 100%. He just put on an absolute show on the top side, or whoever drafted him those picks because they were perfectly matched into the team composition that was built out by Team Q. I think there is a world where maybe if you draft a little bit differently for jungle on the side of Team Q, you get a better advantage coming out of the early and mid game. But when you have Maokai to back up the top side there on with the Shaco pick, it's just not going to showcase what Ricky can do on that champion because there really isn't much damage coming out. And now you're sitting there into a tank matchup,
Sure.
which just feels absolutely horrible. I think the only thing they could have done in that situation is maybe pivot Shaco into the jungle, go Maokai top like you thought may have happened. And then you actually build Shaco into an AD assassin, and that opens up a little bit more opportunity to take out the mid and bot lanes. But as it were, we didn't see that happen. We saw the absolute canyon that it was put up on the top side, and unfortunately, it just wasn't Team Q's games today.
Yeah. And I think just to really quickly make the point about drafting, I think of some of the other options that you might have had into Trundle where you had these open, or sorry, into the Sion, you go something like maybe Vi or Trundle. So Trundle into Sion would have been amazing there because you chomp onto him and you're just shredding health like crazy. Gives him a way more team fight capability. And I think from the top lane, like even some other different matchups, like maybe trying to go in something like the Mbessa or the Cassante, or maybe even something like a Renekton, get yourself a little bit more agency there in a team fight. And I just think the Shaco, the way it was positioned, to your point, if it was in a different role and maybe switch him, it might have made a little bit more sense because at least the Maokai could have stalled out the Sion. But I think from the drafting advantage, like BP, they knew exactly what they wanted and they delivered. It's one thing to draft a good comp, but it's entirely another to deliver on it and play it the way it's supposed to be. And BP did that. I mean, like we talked about in the game, even in the moments where it was like they were maybe a little bit behind or it was even, when you're going even with a scaling comp and you're trying to be proactive, that's not what you want. And that is the signal that BP were doing everything that they needed to do. So very impressed with their performance. And before we go, I just want to open it up to some final thoughts that you might have.
Yeah, I think ultimately we saw a great showing from both teams. We saw the capabilities that Team Q has, especially in those odd and weird oddball situations where we saw the potential, right? We saw the light at the end of the tunnel, what they were trying to aim for, the tactics they were trying to pull off. Yes, they didn't execute it on it perfectly, but I do like that they're at least being innovative enough to try them out, and they're trying to play towards their strengths. If you're on the side of Baggy Pampers, I think you are just feeling really great about yourselves. You obviously executed it perfectly on the strategies that you set out to play at the beginning of the day. And ultimately, I think if you're both teams, you really do have some things to look forward to moving on into the rest of the tournament next month.
Yeah. Now, Black Mage, before I let you go, because I would be remiss if I didn't take this moment to ask some of the spicy questions. We talked about moving on to the bracket. BP will be moving on to face your team, Momentum. That will be the first match of that bracket. How are you feeling about now that you've seen how this team plays? Now that you know what you're up against, how are you feeling?
I'm still feeling good. I don't think I was ever nervous to begin with. I do think that we have some strengths that a lot of teams do not have that we play to pretty well. That being said, I do think out of the two teams stylistically, we probably do play worse into Baggy Pampers. And so I am curious to see if what we've built over the past 2 months rises to the occasion and we're able to actually overcome this team. I think that they played excellently today. And honestly, if you're really anyone with a brain, you are going to be slightly fearful of this team if they can pull out the same momentum that they pulled out today.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you heard it from Black Mage there first, exactly of what to expect from their matchup coming up soon. And speaking of matchup, the next time that we will see you wonderful folks will be March 14th. We will be starting the next round. This will be the remainder of the playoffs. Remember, no teams were eliminated today. They've just been seeded differently now that we've played the opening matchup. So our first two matchups coming out of the break when we come back on March 14th, it will be Baggy Pampers versus Momentum, and then we will have Silver Mains versus Big Bird Club, and then the entirety of that division will play out that day on March 14th. It will be starting at 11 a.m. EST. It'll be best of threes all the way through until grand finals, which will be best of five. And then we'll also have our other two divisions playing on March 15th. They're much smaller, so much easier tournament to run there. But other than that, we want to thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight to watch these matchups. We appreciate everything that you've done as far as supporting the channel, supporting the server. If you get the chance, please find the Discord link, come and join us at the loading screen. Find some friends, bring them with you, create a team. We're going to be running these tournaments fairly frequently, and a massive respect to Tyler, the server owner, for inviting us to do this and for letting us, get involved in this production. Huge respect to him. It's always scary when you hand your thing out to someone else. So just want to say thank you to everybody, and thank you Black Mage for stepping in to co-cast. Can't wait to cast the rest of the season or series with you. And just want to say thank you to everybody, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Ryzen. Thank you, everyone else.
Yeah. Bye-bye, everybody.